Hi everyone, my name's Sherry and this is Leaving the Old Me Behind. I have created this channel to vlog my journey post gastric sleeve surgery. I had my gastric sleeve operation on Tuesday, July 12th, 2022, and as I record this video, I am currently 1 week post-op. So I have created this channel to vlog my own progress, my own journey, to share any ups and downs, the good, the bad and the gross, basically. So if you're part of the bariatric community or if you're looking into it and this is a subject that interests you, please like, subscribe, follow me. I'm also on TikTok where I will do more regular updates, and I just wanted to do this to introduce myself to you all, to show you my starting point, and in the hope that some of you will come along for the journey, whether that is by going through your own gastric surgery yourselves, or if it's something that just interests you, weight loss in general, anything that might come up. Sorry for the stop-start clips, but I seem to have lost a bit of my video, so I'm now having to fill in a gap. I hope this sort of gels together in the end, in one whole piece, but here we go. So my starting stats: I am 44 years old, mother of 3, working full-time as a nursery manager. I have had a continuous weight problem since my early mid-20s, and I've yo-yo dieted, pretty much my whole adult life. So for 20 years I've had this up and down, round and round, crazy roller coaster ride of issues with my weight, health, and everything in between. And so I was doing this video and I've created this channel to hopefully introduce other people to it, bring some people along with me for support maybe, but my starting stats are 24 stone 8 pounds. I went to Turkey and had my surgery on Tuesday the 12th of July 2022. Today is Wednesday the 20th of July 2022, and I did my first weigh-in yesterday at 1 week post-op. I have lost in 1 week 16 pounds. 16 pounds, and my BMI has gone from 58 down to 54.4 in 1 week. I mean, those results on any commercial diet or weight loss program I've ever embarked on has taken me weeks. So here we go. I'll give you after this bit a little bit more of a history on myself and the reason why I came to the decision of going to Turkey to have bariatric surgery. So yeah, come along if you're interested. Like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. I'm really hoping this is going to reach some people that might jump in on my journey and support me, but also maybe that I might be able to share my experiences, hints and tips I get along the way that may help other people that are looking into having bariatric surgery, or even people that are just coming out the other side themselves. So come along with me for the adventure that I'm sure it's going to be, and I'm hoping to include all sorts along the way, like things like cookery, recipes, shopping hauls, anything and everything that might be involved and may interest anybody that is sort of embarking on the same journey is what I intend to do. I intend to be full disclosure, good, bad, disgusting, anything along the way. So please feel free to ask me any questions, leave me some comments. By all means, I've got a TikTok profile called sleeving.theoldmebehind. So jump along on there. I do smaller daily updates and some funny things. And hopefully you're going to join on the journey with me. So the starting point of my problems happened 20 years ago when I had a miscarriage of pregnancy. And when I went to the hospital, I had to have several ultrasounds and tests done. And it turned out that I had cluster ovarian cysts. At the time, I was told that it was a very common thing. A lot of women, especially in the early stages of pregnancy, experience this, and that sometimes it can cause complications of pregnancy, but that it is just one of those things that will pass in time and everything will go back to normal. It didn't. That was the starting point of me having reoccurring issues with ovarian cysts. And although I never actually received a diagnosis for polycystic ovarian syndrome, I have over the last 20 years had reoccurring serious cysts on my ovaries that have caused miscarriages of pregnancies. Obviously, it has affected my hormones, my metabolism, and my ability to lose weight and maintain, to the point where in 2015 I was rushed to hospital and needed to have emergency surgery to remove my left ovary and fallopian tube. So going back to 20 years ago, when the first lot of cluster cysts were discovered, I was not particularly overweight. I've always been a curvy girl, but I wasn't in a particularly unhealthy condition at that point. I was a young mum in my early 20s, and I had a little boy and I was working, and so I was doing that everyday mum on the go type lifestyle. And yes, a lot of the time, as a lot of us do, I slipped into some bad habits of grabbing food on the go and, not really prioritising the importance of healthy meals, healthy living, and, sort of an organised meal routine as such. At that time, my dress size was a UK 14-16, which was partly to do with being big busted. I've always had a very large bust ever since I sort of hit puberty. But that dress size, 14-16, was a healthy shape for my build as such. And I'm not going to drop into those, I'm big boned cliches and things like that, but I have always had hips and a bust from about 14 years old. And so I've had a full voluptuous woman's figure, so to speak. But yeah, at that time in my early 20s, obviously I took it in my stride, as we all do. Little did I know how badly it would spiral out of control over the next 10 years. So going from my early mid-20s and taking everything in my stride and being quite comfortable in my curves, I started to go down a slippery slope as I reached my late 20s and heading on to 30. And I had another miscarriage of pregnancy. And it was at that point that my doctor had explained to me that it was not going to be just a one-time thing that was going to come and go. It was obviously something that I was going to continue to have issues with. And so, therefore, it wasn't going to be apparent to me until I'd got to the stage, obviously, where I was trying for a baby. But the chances are that I was having these cluster cysts occurring with every monthly cycle, which would then have this roller coaster effect on my hormones, and have a knock-on effect going forward with weight issues and causing problems with an ability or inability as such to lose weight with any sort of ease and maintain any weight loss. And that is where my fad diet obsession began. And it was obvious to me that after having this information from the doctor, and that if I had any hopes of having more children and having a healthier lifestyle, I was going to seriously have to get my claws into some form of weight loss program and shed some considerable weight. At this point, I was probably a dress size 18, UK 18. So still curvy, still not majorly unhealthily overweight for my personal build. Again, still having hips and a large bust. But it had become apparent to me that I needed to do something for the future. And so I embarked on Weight Watchers for the first time. And let me tell you, a young mum doing the school runs, working. I was a single mum at the time, so it was, you know, all single-handed, working, home life, school life, everything else. The weighing, measuring, counting, everything under the sun just became a real pain for me. And I just seemed to find things within that weight loss program that I was able to do with some considerable ease, thinking I could just stick to that, and that would do the job. Well, obviously it didn't. And then I plateaued for a very long time, which then just becomes disheartening. And eventually, when you feel like you've tried your best all week and you get on the scales and you're having no results, or you're spending 6 weeks of a pound on, a pound off, half a pound, it just becomes so tedious and so disheartening that was that for me. Job done, wasn't going to do Weight Watchers any longer. And that took me into my slim fast stage, which, you know, I'm sure a lot of us have tried. And I personally have actually tried it several times. But let's be honest, it's not a realistic lifestyle. In a short term, yes, you get the desired results. And yes, I lost some weight. And I started, you know, swimming and exercising and feeling good about life. And then I met someone. And very early on in that relationship, I fell pregnant, which at the time, no, wasn't ideal for both of us. But for me personally, having experienced what I had with the miscarriage pregnancies, and now with something ticking in my head about having a child, I was starting to think, okay, maybe this is my last chance. So all cards on the table, I said to the young man, you know, this is it for me. It doesn't have to be for you. You can walk away. I'm quite happy to do it by myself. I've been a single mum all these years, managed it perfectly fine. And so that's what I did. And I was so adamant that this pregnancy was going to go full term that I went to an almost vegetarian diet and started doing very mild exercising. And my pregnancy went full term. And in December 2009, I had my little boy. And this was an absolute high point for me. It was like I'd achieved something, I had overcome something, and, you know, I had a new baby, and obviously, like we all do, it's just such a high point of life. So I thought, okay, well, this is it. And for the next 20 months, I just enjoyed life. Again, very busy mum, baby on hip, toddler on hip, and I was loving every minute of it. And then I met Paul, who I'm currently with. We've been together 11 years, and life changed. Life got very easy, very comfortable, still working, you know, young child, teenager as well by that point. And, you know, without all the flouncy pouncy lovey dovey stuff. Yeah, we hit it off big time. We fell in love, crazy for each other. And then obviously I'm heading to my mid-30s, and now I've got in my head, well, you've had a full-term pregnancy with a bit of healthy living and some exercise. You were able to overcome that. I've got 2 boys. Oh my God, I'd love a little girl. So early on in the relationship, I fell pregnant. And I had a miscarriage, which means the pregnancy is ended, but the baby doesn't come away. So I continued carrying, unaware, for 12 weeks. And that was really, really a hard thing to go through. And it actually then had a impact on my mental health. But we were great, you know, we carried on. He was very supportive. And once we'd got past that bit, I sort of fell into this rut of comfort eating and depression. And so that kind of went hand in hand. And that's where I really started to spiral out of control with my weight. So, you know, it wasn't very long lived. And I then decided I was going to go back to Weight Watchers. And my mum came with me, and we joined together, and we were hyping each other up and, come on, you know, we can do this. And, you know, it was all hands on deck, you know, full commitment. We're going to stick with this and we're going to work. And again, I had some success, and I lost about 2.5 stone. I'd started doing some exercise with my mum, and I was enjoying it. And then I plateaued. And I plateaued. And I plateaued. And it didn't matter what I did at that point. It just seemed like I was following the same pattern that my lovely mum was following. And, you know, thankfully for her, amazingly, she had this huge success with it and went on to lose 6.5 stone. And I was still stuck in this rut of about 2.5 stone weight loss. And so again, it becomes very disheartening, very depressing. And I again felt like, not that I was depriving myself of everything, but it was like my whole life was revolving around this prepping and planning food, that, you know, it was just an obsession, and it was an obsession that wasn't paying off. So I quit. And very quickly, the weight went back on, and more. And by this point, I'm in about a dress size 20. But I was still in a very loving relationship. We were happy, building our life together, building our home together. And then I fell pregnant. And all these flags went up in my head again, and I thought, you know what? I sat and had a chat with my nan, and she said, you're stressing too much about everything. Stop stressing, stop overthinking everything. Take it easy, yes. Try and eat healthy, yes. But just go with it and see where it goes. And I had a full-term pregnancy. And so in January 2014, we had our little girl, Olivia. And again, buzzing off of life, you know, absolutely loving it. I felt totally complete by this point. My 2 boys, my beautiful girl, loving relationship, happy home, working, you know, life was as it should be. But I was having some issues with my health. I was having vitamin deficiencies, and I was going through phases of severe fatigue, and so off I went to the doctors, who sent me off for some tests, and I was anemic, and I had vitamin D deficiency and a B12 deficiency, so I had supplements for those, and I got the usual advice from the doctor: you need to lose some weight, and you need to give up smoking. So, yeah, off I went again. Well, this rolled on for over about 18 months. My mum, unfortunately, had some health implications from her success with the Weight Watchers. She became severely anemic, had to have lots of blood transfusions, and was ordered by the doctors to eat more. So unfortunately for her, she gained weight back as well. So then when we got to this stage, and I'd got to this point with my health implications, we decided to go to Slimming World. And let me tell you, yes, Slimming World works, and it works for a lot of people, and there's many success stories. But it only works if you commit to this plan that for me didn't work. You know, having a plate full of pasta, just as long as I had a salad next to it, didn't work for me. It did in the short term, and again, I lost about 2.5 stone, and I'd got back to my pre-baby weight for my little girl. And I was just enjoying life, and you know what, at that point, it was ups and downs with weight and health, and everything was just sort of a bit overwhelming. And so, you know, I kind of fell off the wagon as such, and then slipped back into bad eating habits. You know, I'm not blaming anybody, but obviously I was in a very comfortable, happy relationship. My partner loves me for who I am, regardless of what size I am. And so it didn't matter to him if I had a bit of extra weight, or, you know, if I had some bad eating habits, because he pretty much can eat anything he likes. I swear the man's got hollow legs. But he's just one of those people that can eat and not gain any weight. And so when we're sort of matching each other on food intake, but it doesn't have that effect on him, and it's piling the weight on me, it spiraled way out of control very quickly. And so I had to then do something again. Back to Slimming World I went. 2.5 stone down, same pattern. You can eat as much of this, you can eat as much of that as you like, providing it is within these certain food groups. And in the short term, yes, it had the desired effect. And then I plateaued for a very long time. Again, disheartening, depressing. But I started having more health implications. And I went back to my doctors for more testing. And it turned out that I was having some immune system problems, and I was told that this was all a vicious cycle of a knock-on effect from the weight, with the hormones, with the cluster cysts. It was just this pattern that was just revolving around my life and food, and it wasn't good, and it continued to get bad. And it continued to affect my mental health, and I just let it all go. And so for the last 4 years, I suppose, I've just been on and off the wagon. Little bit of success, putting it back on, little bit of success, putting it back on. And then I had some really horrible health problems where I was fainting, falling asleep in the middle of the day at work, wasn't sleeping properly, having all these immune disease issues, suspected thyroid issues, and I've had all sorts of testing under the sun, and it came down to, you know, weight. I'd ballooned to a dress size 22, 24, biggest I'd ever been, and I hit rock bottom. And this was when I entered my keto phase. And the keto diet, you know, for what it's worth, was crazy. I could not get my head around how I was to eat all this food, fried and with full fat and butter and cream, and it was just crazy. But I gave it a go after hearing some success stories from friends. And I was still I managed to get into ketosis, and I was in the early stages where I was still at a high fat content. Got into ketosis, and I'd started having these major energy boosts, sleeping really well, mental clarity, and I thought, okay, well, maybe this is something I can continue. I knew that I would then have to start reducing the fat intake to then get to the point of weight deficit. And then the pandemic hit, and yeah, it messed everything up for everybody. I understand that. But when you can't go to the supermarkets and grab everything that you need to grab, keto is not the best diet to try. So that went out the window. So then obviously we were in lockdown, we were in a pandemic, we were eating what we could get our hands on pretty much, as were a lot of people. And I ballooned, and I ballooned big time. And I was at my biggest, again, 24, sometimes even going for a 26 in the bust. And I couldn't believe where my life had got to. And so I went to the doctors and I said, look, this is getting out of hand, it's out of control. I've tried everything and anything. I've tried all the medications, I've tried all these different commercial diets, fad diets, cabbage soup diets, Slim Fast, Slimming World, Weight Watchers, keto. And my doctor said, keto? What on earth made you try keto? And of course, they just want you to go through this standard healthy eating plus exercise routine that they expect to get good results out of. However, with my health implications, it was creating problems with me for mobility. Since having my little boy in 2009, and then my little girl in 2014, with the problems with my hormones, my pelvis had softened too much, ready for birth, and it had changed. My pelvis had become warped, and when it reset after birth, it hasn't set right. So then I've got hip pains, pelvic pain, back pain, which has a knock-on effect to the ability to do any exercise. So of course I thought, well, I'll go to the swimming pool because that, it's meant to help be able to do the exercise with people with problems with mobility. And I did aquafit, and then another lockdown happened. So that went out the window. And as with a lot of other people in the world, pandemic, I put on the pounds. And so when I was able to go back to the GP, I needed, I was insisting, I need medical assistance now, or this is going to continue to spiral out of control, and it's already having a severe, medical impact on my life, or quality of life, which was just horrendous. You get to the point where you can't walk your children to school. It's a punch to the guts. It's really heartbreaking. And I felt like I was completely out of control, and I didn't know what to do about it. And my GP had suggested that I was probably eligible for bariatric surgery. So we went down that path of the referral to get the information. Took about a year finally for me to get into the consultation with a bariatric surgeon, who said yes, I qualified, and he was happy to put me on the plan. And then the second consultation I had, the lady told me that I had to embark on a 4-tier program, which was physio, weight loss, dietitian, and exercise. And each tier of the 4-tier program was an individual 12-month plan. So that was 4 years. And then by the time I'd completed that 4-tier program, each of those professionals had to collectively sign me off for bariatric surgery. And then I would go on the waiting list for the surgery. And the waiting list currently is 3 years. So we're looking at 7 years and I knew I probably didn't have 7 years left. My blood pressure was sky high. I have severe mobility issues, and it got to a point where it didn't matter, and this is something that was confirmed to me by the bariatric consultant, was I had hit a point where they believe people get to, where it doesn't matter what food intake plus exercise output you do, you hit a point where you will never be able to manually create enough of a deficit to reverse it. And so surgery is the only option for some people. I happen to be one of those people. Unfortunately, I just didn't believe I had 7 years to wait. So off I went to Turkey. Brave, scary, amazing, emotional. I've gone through every single feeling and emotion under the sun in the last month, because I booked my surgery at the beginning of June 2022, and my operation was on the 12th of July 2022. So again, 1 week today I am post-op. And is it worth it? Yes, it is. I went and weighed myself for the first time yesterday, and in 1 week I've lost 16 pounds, and my BMI has dropped from 58 to 54.4. 1 week. So this is my introduction to my journey. I'm going to be vlogging on here regularly to, you know, log my process, my progress, my ups, downs, highs, lows, the good, the bad, the gross, absolutely everything. And I'm hoping that this might help some people. Maybe I'll get a bit of moral support from some people. But it's going to be a journey, it's going to be an adventure, and I'm really hoping that some of you will want to come along with me and join in the process. If you're a bariatric patient yourself, if you've had the sleeve, if you've had the bypass, you know, gastric band, balloon, whatever it might be that you've had, I'm sure there will be things that we will overcome or experience together similarly. And you know, let's do this. We've got it. It's the start of our new lives. It's the start of my new life, and I'd like you to join me on my way and follow my progress and see where this goes. So until my next video, I hope to hear from some people and hope this reaches some people, and I will look forward to doing the next one. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching. Do all that, like, subscribe, share, because I really would like this to become a community thing. And I've also got TikTok, sleeving.theoldmebehind on TikTok, where I do daily little updates, what I eat, you know, things I've discovered. So if you're interested, then follow me on there. I'd love to get a message from you. And again, on here, if you'd like to message me, comment, you know, that'd be brilliant. Thanks very much for listening and watching, and I hope to hear from you all soon. Take care. Bye.